and welcome back. This is the Morning Breeze, and in our edition of the topical discussion this morning, we're also weighing in on the ongoing debate about the marriage and divorce bill. The contention is likely to be on for some time, and the bill now seems to be faced with controversies. We're seeing government officials, some of them coming out openly to criticize it. At the same time, we've seen the church opposed to the bill. We've seen several other schools of thoughts also coming out to poke holes in the marriage and divorce bill. While on the other front, we're seeing women activists holding strongly, and politicians as well, a cross-section of politicians holding strongly in favor of the marriage and divorce bill. Well, joining us in the studio this morning, I have Honorable Miria Matembe, a former woman member of parliament, a former Minister for Ethics and Integrity, and a lawyer with a doctorate. Good morning, Doctor.
Morning.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good. After Easter, I'm certainly good because as we reflect on the love of God.
Yeah, but
through Jesus
I imagine you heard all the sermons that were given out during Easter, focusing on the marriage and divorce bill, rejecting it. So this is a bill that suffered rejection from the church.
Actually, I want to believe that you, the press, are the ones out blowing all these things you talk of rejection. Why? Yesterday, I was in All Saints Church. I attended the church. The Archbishop was there. He made just a few statements about the bill. And he didn't come out to say, I'm preaching against the bill. No, he was talking about the ills. Jesus died that we may be saved from certain ills. And among those, he talked about like the morality in this country, and then brought in this bill and say that like this bill which is coming, which might glorify the divorce. It needs to be studied very well and looked into so that by the time it becomes law, it will be for the good of marriages in this land. He never rejected the bill.
Yeah, but
so now, wait. Now, having been there and listened to him, now I went on the radio, on the TVs. They were all saying how all these people rejected the bill. The whole message of the death of Jesus Christ and how he died to redeem us so that we may not die was lost completely, whereas these people emphasize that message. And you, the press, because of your own intention and whatever you want to do in destroying this bill, you just highlighted the rejection of the bill.
The Uganda Joint Christian Council came out with a statement rejecting the bill. One saying that the name itself is do
you know the word reject? These people I have listened to them. They are saying this bill, in the form in which it is, needs to be restudied properly and reconsidered so that when it comes out, it does not destroy the marriage institution, and it would be for the good of others.
How different would that be from rejecting?
That's what, rejecting. It means that you say, throw it out, never to see the light of day. You see, rejecting means throw out the bill, never to see the light of the day. But for me, I do not think that they are rejecting it. Secondly, by the way, and if you call me to teach people here to explain, please let me explain. For me, these religious leaders, I do believe that if you sit with them and explain, and you go with them through these provisions, and tell them what the intent of this thing, I think they would come out with an understanding. Right now, they are up to defend religion and the marriage institution.
Right.
They are up to defend like I'm up
and
to
morals.
defend. Wait, like I'm up to defend. You hear? But the moment they understand this bill properly, I do believe that they would come along in saying, yes, these are the right things. But having said that, that's why I say they don't understand. For instance, I listened to Pastor Serwada. I listened to him properly. Was it WBS? And he said, for instance, what is the intention of this bill? And I listened to him. Do you know, he said, I think the intention, the object of this bill is to know data, to correct data so that you can know how many people are married or not. And see when it is, for instance, in terms of taxes, blah, blah, blah. But let me tell you, Kagwa, the central objective of this bill is to guide, to establish and guide and regulate the institution of marriage with a view of protecting, with a view of protecting those people who are in that institution, so that they may know their rights, their responsibilities, like any other institution.
Honorable, isn't it a huge shame that this is a bill that's been on the shelves for nearly 3 decades, but it's never been understood? So that tells you how obscure it is.
You want me to tell you why?
Yes.
This bill is central to the whole issue of women's empowerment. It is very central to the issue of women's equality and empowerment, which I call women's. It is central to the whole issue of treating women as equal human beings in their own right. And who has ever, which man even has ever, even the religious leaders apart from Jesus Christ and St. Paul, which of them has ever wanted the women to be treated as full human beings in their own right, capable of having rights and enjoying them, capable of determining how their bodies should be treated, capable of owning property, capable of having concern within a family, capable of living as equal human beings in their own right. This bill is central to that question, and as long as it is central to that issue, it will be thrown out by whether religious leaders, whether the men, the women, of course, for them,
so
many of them don't understand
male chauvinism.
It is central, it is so, don't put words in my mouth. I want the public to listen to me. The speciality about this bill, when it is passed, it recognizes a woman as a full human being who can, for instance, have control over her body and determine that now that I'm sick or I'm having my period, please, you are not going to advance for sex. That is the issue of rape now. Because as of now, when a man comes, whether drunk, whether from a mistress, whether without a condom, and maybe you think he's sick, you suspect, you are supposed to just there tender yourself, because the Bible says you married for life, you must don't temumangana. It is written there in Corinthians. But, so he just comes and dives, and the woman is supposed to say, to take everything.
So
but this
are you
bill,
advocating for contravention?
Don't jump on me. This bill is saying, please, women are also human beings. When it comes, for instance, to the matters of property ownership, I mean, she's been working here with you. She has also contributed to this property. In case of the unfortunate occurrence of divorce, she should not be thrown out empty-handed. Kagwa, women right now, even as long marriage as 40 years, 50, 30, 25, men get up and say, get out of my house. There is no regulation as to how somebody even should separate. The purpose of this bill is to say, well, when people marry, they are meant to marry for life. But we have seen, before I was born, divorce was there. Up to now, it is there. It is not the bill which is going to create a divorce, but the law is saying. The law is saying in case people separate, this is how they should separate, and this is what each one of them should get because they've been working together.
Now let's do a dissection of this bill. One, like you say, it's a woman-centered bill.
Not woman-centered bill. Don't put words in my mouth. It is human-centered.
No,
because
you're protecting the interests of women before men, aren't you?
Don't put words in my mouth. I know what I want to say. This bill is to make women human beings also capable of owning property, capable of determining the freedom over their lives, capable of enjoying rights as full human beings in their own right. And this bill, on top of providing human rights for women, it also provides human rights for children. Why do I say this? All these women who come to me, they are being chased away with their little ones without any property. There are many, if you are to get children out there who come and cry, even boys of like 17, 15 years, and they are saying, where should our mommy go? And they are
but if
crying.
we continue promoting a law without being gender sensitive, what kind of blessing do you
Those are
wish to have
those
from
are
men?
your words, Kagwa.
No, because I'm looking at it this way. You're protecting women before men.
That is you. That is you. Right now I'm saying women in the current unequal world, in the current unequal Uganda, where it is only men who enjoy rights of everything.
Right.
The law is saying it is not only men who are human beings only. Also women are human beings. And therefore, women should be as equal of human being, not superior, but should be also treated as human being as much as men are treated as human beings. So don't put words in my mouth and say not gender sensitive. This bill is extremely gender sensitive, establishing a marriage institution where both couples in that marriage are treated as full
and giving a casual approach to
treated
divorce.
as full human beings in your right. Kagwa, those are your words. I don't think you have even read this bill.
Honorable, let's look at the name.
This
the
bill
name
does
of the
not-
bill. Marriage
you are ignorant,
and divorce.
Kagwa.
No, it's
you
okay.
Are very ignorant.
But let's look at the name. Let's look at the name itself, which has raised issues of contention. Marriage and divorce.
Okay.
Do you feel this is a name that should be adopted or it should be
Let me
changed?
tell you, for me, for Ugandans who want hypocrisy, for Ugandans who want to hide under the sand, you can remove the word divorce because you want to hide. You don't want to face reality. You see, you hide it, remove the word. You remove the word divorce and then regulate the marriage institution from the beginning to the end. Let me tell you, marriage institution, in marriage, one may either separate or die. So marriage is not,
You're making divorce automatic.
Kagwa, you are ignorant. You should read the bill before you come here.
Yes, I did read that. I read the bill.
Okay, I want to ask
marriage
you. I
and
want
divorce.
to ask you.
I'm the host. You're the guest.
Let me talk while I keep quiet.
Okay, you talk.
I have told you that a marriage is not for in perpetuity forever, because either people separate or people die. So there must be a regulation of how this marriage is entered into, how people behave within their marriage, and at a time when the unfortunate occurrence of separation, how they separate and what happens. And there must also be a regulation on the occurrence of death. When there is death, what happens? So what is being governed, what is being legislated here is what should be rightly done. Otherwise, people will take anything in their hands and they do anything they want.
Do you realize that marriage
Kagwa,
is a sacred union?
Kagwa, I'm very, very, very properly married. I'm telling you.
Yes.
And I'm a born-again Christian.
Yes.
And I love the Lord. And you know how I have been fighting rape, and how I've been saying that it breaks the sanctity and the holiness and the virginity, all these things.
Right.
You know how I have been defending them?
Yes, I do.
I've been defending them, so you can't discredit me or question me on the issue of God, on the issue of holy marriage.
Do you realize that
I know
marriage
very
is
well.
a sacred union? And that people
God.
enter marriage
Oh, God.
with a promise not to divorce.
Very well. Thank you, Kagwa. Do they divorce or they don't? Their intention, Kagwa, is the intention not to divorce a reality, or people have divorced?
People
Kagwa,
have
let's
divorced.
talk very soberly.
Yes.
I told you I came here to talk soberly because I want at least people who hear me to hear me and take me well.
Right.
I don't want them to think that I'm a crook who is busy breaking marriages. I'm very interested in stability of marriages. I have preached. I have brought marriages together. I have stopped the marriages which would
And now
break
you're
from
advocating for
breaking.
divorce.
That's why you should say.
Your marriage is intact, but you're lobbying for divorce.
That's why you should say, Kagwa,
Yes.
I wish you people could be knowledgeable, because you are misleading our public. This law is not advocating for divorce. Divorce is already there. Divorce is there, overwhelming divorce is there. And by the way, because we lack appropriate law, that's why people just enter into this marriage casually and get out, get out, because there is no regulation on the part of the state to make people do the right things. So what this law is saying is not saying please divorce. It is saying because there is a divorce going on and people divorce just anyhow and throw people on the street, we should regulate as to how divorce, when it is taking place, which by the way continues to take place now with or without this law, we should regulate on how people should behave towards each other in case of this.
Do you support divorce?
That's it.
Do you support divorce?
I don't. If I could stop divorce, that's what I love to do. But can I? Even Jesus himself, who hated sin and preached, sin is up to now. But the issue is, by the way, let me use this example for you, Kagwa, to understand. Jesus hated sin. Jesus, one day, they brought a woman who had committed adultery. Jesus, who hated sin. How did Jesus treat this woman? Jesus said, you people, anybody who has never committed sin, be the first person to throw a stone. They all walked away. Do you know what Jesus was doing that time? He was protecting this sinner. After protecting the sinner, because Jesus loved sinners and wanted them alive, he protected this sinner and said, Madam, although they have not condemned you, what you had done is wrong. Go, never do it again. That's how we want, for instance, the church to do. People are cohabiting. It is wrong to cohabit, okay?
Yeah, but you seem to make it normal.
So it's wrong to cohabit. So what they should do, they should go in their church. In fact, I told some of them, you go this church of yours, identify all those people who are cohabiting and sit with them. Call a meeting with them and sit with them and say, people, you know what? You are living in sin and sin is not good. Can we please help you to get out of sin by wedding you? That's what the church should do. But what the government, by the way, one thing I want to make clear to my listeners, I've been hearing all of you saying, activists, this law is not brought by any activist at all. It is not the responsibility.
Yeah, but from the onset, you said it's coming out to protect women, and it is women who seem to be at the front of this.
When you are ignorant, Bamba, I feel sorry for you, because it is not the responsibility of activists to bring law to govern Uganda. It is the responsibility of the government of Uganda to bring law, take it to parliament, so that they make laws for good governance of this nation. And in line with good governance of this nation,
yeah, but the
government of Uganda brought the law on marriage. By the way, this law came first as the law of domestic relations. There was no divorce. At the beginning, there was no divorce. It came as the law of domestic relations. When it went to parliament, you know the way they don't like it. They say, take it back. That's when they said remove the Muslims, then go and make it marriage and divorce. The very parliament, the institution of Uganda, go into Hansard. It said you drop the domestic relations bill and now bring it as marriage and divorce.
And now, it's also been rejected.
And now they are beginning another gimmick. It is just a gimmick. I told you the centrality of the bill is to make equality and empowerment and make women and children enjoy in this country. And those who hold power, patriarchy, those who hold power would not want to see women also enjoying life and being human beings.
Yeah, but when you gather the sentiments around this bill, you realize it's fated to fail.
Kagwa, Jesus, when Jesus came to preach, to save the sinners, he talked all these good things and so on, and in the end, they killed him. They killed him, he died. But is he dead? Is he dead, Kagwa? Any good, well-intentioned thing will always prevail. Let them kill it.
What's the intention
Let
that's
them
not
kill
popular?
it. Let them, Kagwa. But me, one Kagwa, I want to ask you, because why you are, all of you are part of the evil people who are destroying this bill, is how many women in the country of Uganda, how many women, in fact, who are in holy marriage, and those who are also cohabiting, how many have you gone and asked? And they all say, we don't want the bill. First of all, they said, go. This bill came as a result of serious consultation by the Law Reform Commission. Long ago, in the 90s, towards the end of 90s, by 98 there, the Law Reform Commission conducted a survey around the whole country, calling people soberly, not this madness of the NRA, of the members of parliament, who go and destroy the bill and they say people have refused it. No, the Law Reform Commission went like the Uganda Constitutional Commission and traversed the whole of this country and asked. And they got all these things from people. They brought them here to Kampala. They called us in national conference. And we all, I remember we discussed, the Kanyihambas were there. When we were still there those days, the judges were called, the teachers were at the national conference, and we came out with the law of domestic relations. This law is not of yesterday. It has come all the way from
how come culture institutions and religious institutions do not really seem to welcome this law?
Let me tell you, Mbwenu, Ugandans are deceitful. If I tell you that it is from the 90s, today is 2013. Whoever was a cultural leader that time who was consulted, there is now a different one. Whoever was a religious leader who was there is now a different one. Even the Archbishop that time, I think it was in the time of Archbishop Nkoyoyo, those days, 3 of them now are there. I mean, the bishops have changed. All these people who were involved, because me, I was involved, I'm still the same, let me tell you. And I was involved, and we discussed with the religious leaders. They came and attended the, what do you call it? You see, like Pastor Serwada would like you to go to his place and now start seeking for his view. But do they seek individual views of individual people, or you get some people and you call them, we are coming, whoever comes there is whom we deal with?
Yep.
If you are going to wait for every individual to be consulted, I mean, you cannot get every
Are you
individual.
mindful of the sentiments of the church and cultural institutions towards this bill?
First of all, before I answer, because I'm very mindful, but I want to ask you, do you know that Uganda has a constitution?
Yes, I do.
Do you know that in that constitution, there is a provision, is it Article 24, whatever, 31(6), which says all cultures and religious whatever, and customs which offend and offend the rights of women and dehumanize women are forbidden by this constitution. Do you know that that provision is there? And do you know that the constitution is the supreme law of the land? And do you know that every law which must be made in this country must be in conformity with the constitution of the land? Do you know that? Why do you argue from ignorant point? When I hear people arguing culture, religion, I haven't heard them quote the constitutional provision as the supreme law of the land.
Honorable, I'm delighted to see Pastor Martin Sempa. He's finally here. At least you came in at a time when we're looking at the religious perspective towards the marriage and divorce bill.
Yes.
We would like to hear your stance.
Certainly, I'm grateful for a chance to be here. Good morning, my sister,
Morning,
Honorable Miriam.
We seem to be
also,
sisters and brothers.
yes,
long
I
ago.
had Miriam talking about she's a born-again Christian, she's a married woman, and this bill is to help protect marriages. And I think we all agree. We all agree that marriages are in trouble in this country.
Yes.
We have dralus of this world killing their husbands or boyfriends. A whole general killed by dralu. We have women running over husbands at the gate, and then husbands killing their wives.
We have husbands killing their wives.
And then wives killing wives. Now, the first place, why are marriages in problem? Number one, is we are a lawless nation. About 5 years ago, two feminists, that is Dora Byamukama and Sylvia Tamale, went to the Constitutional Court and litigated, saying that this penal code section on adultery is gender imbalanced. They succeeded, and they threw out the penal code section that adultery is a law in the country. So for the last 4 years, we as a nation have not had a law against adultery. That is why you see across the country, people, women are killing men and men are killing women because there is no law. So one of the things we need to immediately come up with urgently is a section against adultery, which is gender balanced. Unfortunately, in this current draft of the marriage, and I call it the marriage to divorce bill, there is not even an iota against adultery. I have it over here. I want also, so that is a step number one. Number two, this is supposed to be a Christian law, mostly for Christians, because Muslims pulled out. We as Christians have theologians and our biblical guidelines. For example, my sister is here laboring an issue that of marital equality and marriage rape, which I would like to address, and hopefully today I will get an apology from my sister Matembe, because I want to give her data on this issue of marital rape, which will show that this thing is a myth. However, before I get there, we have guidelines of marriage. For example, in Christian marriage, the man is the head of the wife. The husband is the head of the home. They may be equal before God as man and woman, but the roles are different. Therefore, we must protect that biblical teaching. Another one.
Where is it enshrined?
Excuse me?
Where is it enshrined that a man should be the head?
1 Corinthians chapter 10. In the same way Christ is the head of the church, the man is the head of the wife. Ephesians chapter 6. Wives, submit to your husband. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved them. When you continue in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, women should wear a veil over their head as a symbol of submission, that they are under the headship either of their father or their husband. Which is why on marriage day, when a woman is being given away, I'm sure even Matembe knows this, we ask, who gives this woman to be married? She walks in with the father in hand. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Because the woman, the authority of the woman is over the father, has authority over the daughter. And when they say, who gives this girl to be married? Either the muko or the father gives the daughter. Then the man who receives the authority is said, now you can open the veil. But you know, these are deep theological issues, which people who are not educated in the spirit things may not be able to understand. I was looking at who are the people backing this bill. And I want to talk about Mifumis.
Before you get there, I believe Honorable Miriam Matembe would like to say something.
No, she's been here for 30 minutes.
No, just give her a couple of minutes to respond.
Give me a chance to finish this point. I've heard Miriam Matembe talk about that these men, on this issue of justifying marital rape, that these men, they jump on their women and they are like cows, and the women have just given birth and they just come to them, they even stick inside them. So I said, you know what, they cause fistula, cancer. So I went to Mulago, you understand?
Yes.
Obstetrics and gynecology, and I said, is there a single woman here who has been given birth and has come over here because her husband has raped her? And the answer was a resounding no. I said, is there a single study that any of these people who are championing this bill can give that such and such a study? Not a single study. But it is anecdotal information. Me, when I was here. Me, when I was in Chanamukaka. Me, when I was over here. A certain woman came. We cannot make a law based on anecdotal information. And when they say marriage, that sex without consent is a crime, how do you define consent? Does the husband now need a note to say, okay, here, we are going to have sex? Number two, is there a tender offered? Is there an LP, an invoice, and a receipt? It becomes ridiculous when you bring the state inside the bedroom. And we must be very, very careful. Emboozi y'abakulu, oluyimba lw'abaagalana. Kati waliwo omwami nga bw'aba ayogera n'omukyala we nti engeri gye boogera nti njagala buliri. Ye ayina engeri gy'ayogera oluyimba olwo. Bayinza n'okubeera mu kisenge awo n'owulira enkulusanyo omukazi agamba wanyita bananga omushize yanyita wanyita n'olowooza nti ki musango ate bagenda okuva mu kisenge nga baseka.
Honorable, let's hear from Honorable Miriam Matembe. Pastor Sempa.
Bino ebyogamba nti we arrest that man. Mbu men simanya they stick sticks inside women's private parts. Mbu babateekamu ebyuma. Matembe, you must apologize to men. You are creating a bad reputation about marriage. You are scaring young women from getting married by saying that men are bad. They may be a few like Dralu, but not all women are like Dralu. You are not a Dralu. There may be a few misguided men. They are there. But don't say, oh, men. And because of that, young women are looking at men as if we are not a good product to marry. Now they are thinking, if we don't go to marriage to men, where do we go? Lesbianism. So she may not knowingly know that you are pushing marriage away, that you are bringing a bad reputation about men, that you are pandering to a bill.
Pastor, let's do justice to Honorable Miriam. Honorable, could we hear your response?
I want to burst. Let me finish. She has been here 30 minutes.
Finish.
30 minutes, please.
Give me. No, but you came in late.
I know. I deliberately wanted to do that because I wanted my sister to have her time so that I can respond to her issues.
Now, Chairman,
I'm telling
can you control or I walk out?
No, Pastor, let's have some civility here.
Okay, let her respond.
Can I hear from Honorable Miriam Matembe? Honorable Matembe. Honorable, can I hear from you?
Excuse me.
No, we are being civil here. We are being civil. We are being civil. Honorable Miriam, can I hear from you?
Let me tell you.
Yes.
In fact, if you had told me that Sempa was coming here, maybe I would have turned it down. Because Sempa has been attacking me. I don't listen. The way he has done it right now, he's been attacking me. He came here angry to attack me. But that's why I wanted you. Let him attack when he finishes. Yes.
Pastor is done. Pastor is done.
No, I have my data.
Honorable, Pastor is done. I won't let him speak before you respond. Honorable, this is your time.
I am not here. I did not come here to respond to Sempa. Let me tell you, Sempa is a pastor. He has a passion in life. That is to preach the word of God. In fact, he should have preached so well that there is no cohabitation. You see, if he had preached so well, people would not be cohabiting. Even now, those who are cohabiting, if he knew his responsibility as a pastor to keep the marriage institution strong, he would call all of them and preach them and say, please, cohabiting is a sin, so please come and I wed you. So Sempa has been failing in that responsibility. Now, Matembe's passion in life, each of us, God gives them what to do. My passion is in life is to defend the rights of the vulnerable, the rights of the suffering, the rights of discriminated against, mainly or particularly women and their children. So for me, have you heard? For me, I pursue that passion. For him, he pursues his. Now, when he comes to attack me, when he comes to attack me, let him.
No. Honorable, go ahead.
When he comes to attack me and tells lies to people, that's why I wanted him to speak, and then me, I go away. Because Sempa says and tells you of Draru, tells you of people who have killed men. In this country, there are so many men who have killed women.
So are there women?
Wait. So many men who have killed women. There are so many. But Draru is coming out to pin down women. 2 women he's quoting. But let me stop on that one. I want to ask him, he will get opportunity to answer. He has told me the marriage is gone as an institution. The Draru have killed people because Byamukama and whoever came and took away Tamare took away the law. and he's also deceiving there. If I give an opportunity to explain, and he says the law is why? Because of lawlessness. Now we are saying all these things are happening without the law, which they are demonizing. All these things are happening without the law, which he is demonizing. And he's saying because of lawlessness. People take law in their hand and they do anything they want to do. And we are saying, the government is saying now, we are bringing a law whose duty it is to regulate and guide the marriage institution, to establish the rights and responsibilities of people in this institution. So we are bringing this law in order to help. In order, did you call me here? Do you know that I can lose tempo over you?
Can you address the fact? Don't threaten.
Imagine. Control your meeting.
You see, please allow me. Let us be factual.
I did not.
Be emotional.
I did not come here. Okay. I did not come here to address Sempa.
We cannot pass a law on emotion. Attacking men.
Let's look at this bill from the.
It is okay. It is okay. We can make a law.
Madam, will you come back, please? We address the core issues. Let's address the core issues.
You see,
kindly.
Facts are hard.
No. Let's address the. Yes, I'm controlling him. I'm controlling him.
Let us receive facts.
Madam, will you come back?
Is
kindly.
There anyone
kindly.
of fistula? Or that is not.
Commercial. No. Pastor, let's look at the core issues. Let's look at the core issues.
Navuma abasajja babukira abakazi abasajja bateka ebisimu mu bakyala alekerawo tuli banyivu matembe. We as men are angry. You are the one who brought the play vagina monologue. You remember? You like to say even when I'm not right I can make now noise and shout. No, let us give you facts today.
Will you come back, please?
We demand an apology.
Pastor, will you give?
We demand an apology. Stop accusing men.
Will you give Honorable Matembe an opportunity to respond?
She has had 30 minutes.
Yeah, she's had 30 minutes.
She has to take away telling us. Me, I've been married 21 years.
Honorable,
21 years. I have been married to 21.
Back from the break. You're still watching The Morning Breeze on NBS, and in our topical discussion we're looking at the marriage and divorce bill, the pros and cons and the direction this bill is taking. Now, Honorable Matembe, I'd like to give you an opportunity to respond to Pastor Martin Sempa's submission.
First of all, I don't know whether I came here to be on the defense or prosecution by Sempa. I came here to discuss this bill thinking we are educating the public.
Let's educate.
And therefore, I cannot be put on whatever kaboxy for defense. But nevertheless, I want to say this. Sempa told you that he went to Mulago. I wonder whether Mulago is the only hospital in this country, because there are many hospitals in Parisa, in Soroti, in wherever, where this organization feels she's challenging Mifumi. I wonder whether you saw the documentary of Mifumi as an organization. Has a documentary, and you know what a documentary is. People come and speak. Okay. We have these women NGOs whom you demonize and call activists. Like Sempa is preaching his word as his passion. Those NGOs have their passion. The Center for Domestic Violence. You go there to that center up there on Mulago Hero there. If I knew Sempa was coming here with his data, I would have rang all these people, my colleagues, and they come with all the data of those fiscal women whom we can even call to this radio, and they talk to you.
The fistula-infected women.
Wait. The women who have suffered, because marital rape is part of also domestic violence. Those women are there, and if you give me another time, I go to these women, we correct this data and bring it here. Thirdly, I personally, Miriam Matembe, have ever handled 2 cases when I was a minister. I didn't come with them here. In one of them, the woman died. She died. And when the man was arrested, because this man came and said, I want sex. The woman said, I'm not well. He dived on her, as I'm saying, and killed her.
These are facts.
These are facts. The case.
Can she give us
These
names?
are facts. When was it? I don't want to respond to Sempa's question. I'm
sure.
not in a stand.
Yeah.
Because if I knew he was here, I would have gone and gathered those information. But I personally, let me finish what I'm saying.
Yes.
I personally, this man was arrested over in Soroto, Parisa, put in prison, and what did the police say? The man was enjoying his conjugal rights. And I went there and ensured that that man was arrested and put back in prison. In another case, the man was putting, sticks or banana, push a banana. Sempa, you went to Marago. Let me tell you, Kure, you went to Marago. You can die with your anger, but these things have happened. It is not only Marago where you will find data.
But Honorable, have you evaluated the injustices meted out by women towards men?
They are there also. They are men there are women also who batter men.
So should we also legislate for men?
They are there. Don't take us off the law.
Can I please allow me a chance to respond? Let me respond.
No, it's not nonsense.
But I think what I have responded to Sempa now, in terms of the data he's carrying, I have personally, and the women of Mifumi, and the women of Center for Domestic Violence, and the women of FIDA, all these women whom you are demonizing, central to their work is protection of women and their children. And therefore, they talk from real experience.
Please,
secondly,
allow me
it is
to
not
come
the
in.
women.
It is now my
secondly,
chance. Please,
it is not the women who brought the law. It is the government which brought the law, having conducted a survey around the country through the Law Reform Commission, and having found out that there is a problem, the government brought the law. Sempa, I am not the one who brought this law.
Do you agree that there is a problem in the country that we need to legislate?
Thank you very much. I would like to ask that, when you deal with women, sometimes they become emotional.
Okay. You are more emotional than me.
Then what happens is there are stories that are shared whose purpose, if they are not examined carefully, can move people in emotionalism. But you see, I am a scholar. My sister Matembe mentioned to you, I'm a pastor. I would like to inform her that I actually have a master's of science. I have a bachelor's in sociology. I have a PhD.
A doctorate, my dear, in
law.
I have a doctorate in law, which I'm discussing.
I'm talking about me
now.
Go and
discuss your theology.
I'm talking about me now. I have a PhD. And I am very familiar with research and data and how people sometimes share anecdotal stories and they justify the passing of laws, unfortunately. Men, people have not been speaking for them. And by and large, this law, when you read it and you hear the champions of this law,
it's a feminine law.
They are speaking from a position of anger. Men, they are so bad. They rape their wives. Men, and you can see that the basis upon which the champions of this law, whether it's brought by the state or you can see who comes to speak for the law. Solomon Nakawesi, Shila Kawamara, Miriam Matembe.
What's wrong with them?
Again and again.
What's wrong with them?
What's wrong with me?
No, I want to
What's
tell
wrong
you,
with Miriam
they
Matembe?
are mostly women. These are mostly women activists. These are feminists. So there has been absence of competent, educated men who can answer their arguments, who can ask them, can you provide us with data? Like for me, I just followed this entire thing of rape in marriage by saying, give us data. Yes, we hear these stories which are tear-jerking. Please allow me to finish. When somebody makes an accusation, they must be willing to back them. My sister said, if I knew you were going to ask that, I would have told people to come with research. But for the last 2 weeks, I have been writing to every organization. Okay? I've written to Mifumi, I've talked to Sheila, I've talked to Jackie Asimwe, I've met with the lawyers of FIDA who are behind this thing, and I've asked each of them to give me any study of marital rape. of these allegations they are making. And all of them, there's nothing. That's why I went to Mulago. So please allow me to say that while there may be emotional feelings, there is no sufficient scientific data, and we must have it. Secondly,
and you're being chauvinistic.
No, please don't throw that word at me. Me, I'm being educated. Nasoma. Secondly, the second thing I want to bring out is the issue of the Domestic Relations Bill, okay, Domestic Violence Act 2010-2011. It caters for any violence that can be proved within any relationship. Therefore, it makes this clause absolutely unnecessary, okay? The domestic violence, and I don't know if my sister has read that Domestic Violence Act. I'm sure she's familiar with it. But already, if you can prove that there is any harm in any relationship, you can be able to find legal recourse for that. Now, to come to the issue of the ideas that are guiding this law, okay? I think that we all agree our marriages need to be made stronger.
Right.
But we need to realize that our marriages have taken 4,000 years. Buno obufumbo bwe tulina bumaze emyaka nga 10-15 nga tubukola wakati w'eddiini wakati ne culture yaffe. Osanga obwakabaka bwa Buganda tebuka wansi wa myaka 13. Ogenda mu Bunyoro, ogenda mu Bakyoli, abaana ba Labon, abamasaba kati bamaze emyaka 14 nga bakola obufumbo. Okiwulira kati okujja n'ogamba nti etteeka lino lirina okuleetebwa mu bwangu kubanga balitandika mu 1960 limaze emyaka 40. Oba otulaba kintu kikoze eki ekintu kino kimaze ebbanga ate abantu bonna balina okuyigirizibwa. Mwannyinaze ono agenda n'ayogera ku bakalamojja nti bareepinga. Nandyagadde okubulya abakalamojja bo jjukira bo gye babeera bali mu war zone. Kati omukazi anaafumbirwa alina okusooka n'alwesolinga n'omusajja okulaba abaana alina amaanyi alina stamina okusobola omukuuma bali wabava eri Kenya ne babalumba. Kati obufumbo bwabwe basooka ne balwesolinga. Kati omusajja bw'oba toyina maanyi tugambe nga mwannyinaze Matembe nga toyina maanyi kusobola kulwesolinga na mukyalo oyo takkiriza kuwasa kubanga amanyi tosobola kukola ki kumukuuma. Naye ate bano bo balaba nti bano bakola ki eno culture ya rape. Kati waliwo
but isn't it time we got over such traits?
No, you need to understand, my brother, the strength of Africa is our culture. And I want you to know that this law, who is putting money into this law? You should know UK 8, United Kingdom, okay? Belgium, Small Club of 7, Ovao, America, Canada. These are the same nations who have been championing homosexuality. They know that if they bring a bill that is going to destabilize us, it will give no recourse to our people, but to go into what? Homosexuality.
Can I hear from Honorable Matembe on this one? Specifically, this one.
No, allow me to finish, please. She had her time. Now, I also want to bring out the issue of the part of marital rape. I want to bring my sister, who she says she's discussing law. When you introduce a clause of that sex without consent is rape, you understand? You have other countries where we can study. So I did a survey of where nations which have adopted this law. One of them is Australia. In 1991, a case of Kevin Ebbs versus Watson was brought into Australian court where this law was put. He agreed to have sex with a woman. She gave consent. When he were having sex, at about 5 minutes, the woman saw that the man was ready to have an exciting moment. Then she said, "Mvira muano, I have removed consent." The man could not stop. The man went on for at least 30 seconds. That woman took that man, Kevin Ebbs, I want you to write that one down, to court, and the man was in prison for 4 years. Because the judge said that the woman had given what? Consent the first 5 minutes. But she removed the consent at the end of 30 seconds. In the middle. So now, marriages in Australia, husbands know anytime I'm having sex with a woman, I can go what? To jail. Because she can withdraw what? Consent.
So it has a psychological
So
bearing.
my sisters, others who are really interested in protecting marriage need to have time to sit with people like us and not be afraid
I
of
wouldn't
us.
sit
To
with
Somye,
Sempa.
Why wouldn't you
to
sit with
Somye,
Pastor
and
Sempa?
in democracy, there is competition of ideas.
Honorable, why wouldn't
there
you
is
sit with Pastor Sempa as one of the stakeholders
Now,
in
I
upholding
want to ask
the
you,
values of marriage?
I want to ask you, somebody who comes and thinks that he's the only one who knows, who is capable of knowing the right. Let me finish it. What do you sit with him discussing? Because you can come sit and discuss with somebody.
Honorable, we are addressing the pros and cons.
Get into the facts.
You hear now?
No, she's abusing
bring
me.
me here.
No.
He's the only one who knows.
No,
Get to
Honorable,
the facts.
we are discussing issues. So let's get down
For
to the
me,
issues.
Kagwa, let me tell you.
One, is it true that this is being funded?
Kagwa, all these people who are discussing, one thing they forget, especially Sempa here, is forgetting one thing, that there is a constitution of Uganda. And the constitution of Uganda is the supreme law of the land.
All right.
And that constitution sets the principles upon which laws must be made. And in fact, the other case she brought of Tamari and Byamukama, the constitution says that no discriminatory law will be made to govern the people of Uganda. And originally, there was a discriminatory law in as far as divorce was concerned, because the grounds for divorce for a man were different from the grounds for divorce for a woman. So the law was unconstitutional. So they went to court and challenged that law as discriminatory and therefore unconstitutional. And so it was scraped off. And by the way, it is the law on divorce, not criminal adultery is there. But now Sempa told you people, now we have no law on adultery. It is there very well. The court, the Supreme, was it the High Court, said this law, whose grounds are discriminatory, is scraped off. And therefore, we need a law which establishes grounds which are not discriminatory.
Honorable Matembe, can we ever have a common ground?
Have you heard that?
Yes.
Have you heard that? Now, second, I wanted to say 2 points. Chokabanange, if I could be given also time to talk.
She's had 30 minutes.
I will protect you. I will protect you,
Can
Honorable.
you give me a chance?
Honorable, let me
Please
protect you.
In-
Pastor
in-
Sempa.
It is my turn to talk.
Pastor Sempa, I gave you a chance to talk. Please, it's Honorable Matembe's
She's
turn.
responded. She takes
Yeah,
her
no,
time.
let her take her time.
is
It's okay.
Okwiva,
It's
Okwiva,
okay.
Mukono.
I'll
When
give
a
you
husband
time.
has sex with his wife while she's sleeping, is that a crime?
Honorable, can you go ahead? I'm protecting you.
I was saying 2 things. That one, I said it, constitution. Secondly, that this law is not brought to parliament by Matembe and her fellow activists.
Yeah, but is it
This
premised on
law,
goodwill?
let me finish. This law
Just ask who is
is
giving the money.
brought by parliament, by cabinet, after a research. The Law Reform Commission. In any case, if you are saying that this law is being funded by foreigners,
Who are homosexual
Uganda Sempa is funded by foreigners. The other day when they withdrew their donation, you almost went here.
Which is why we are not even passing.
Let me tell you.
We can't allow.
This government is foreign funded. Whether it is health, whether it is education, whether it is this other law, it is foreign.
Yeah, but
therefore,
goodwill. If it's
is
rejected by
excuse me,
culture institutions
if
and
it is
religious...
foreign funded, Sempa cannot come here now and challenge only foreign funding to the extent only on that law.
Yeah, but are you importing something foreign?
Let me tell you, I told you I'm not government. I'm not bringing this law to parliament. When you continue asking me questions which show that you are ignorant, that you don't know that
No.
I'm not the proponent
You're
of
promoting
this law.
something foreign.
I support which
I
foreign?
gave the
This
issue.
looks rather foreign
The
because
issue of
if
Kevin
culture
Eads.
institutions have their reservations,
Mr.
so do church
Mr.
organizations or religious organizations.
Kagwa, Kagwa, before you jump to that issue, has Matembe had, because it's a dialogue, has she had the concern that when this law is passed, husbands are going to be arrested and imprisoned for 5 years? Is she happy of breaking up of marriages because of uncomfortable sex?
That's a very pertinent question.
Because you can have uncomfortable sex. You cannot call it rape.
Let her respond.
Let me tell you, this law has got 178 sex articles. This law's objective is to protect, strengthen, guide the marriage institution and the people who are in that marriage. For me, that's why that law is brought. And that law is necessary. Like any other institution is governed by law, there is a need for the law to govern this institution. Sempa said that our marriages have existed all this time. He's the very man who said that the marriage is collapsing. He's the very one who said that. That shows there is a problem which the government needs to address in terms of strengthening and guiding this institution.
Please ask me, it is my chance.
It's unfortunate to have come to this debate.
Honorable,
I don't interrupt this man when he's talking.
Religious institutions are burying their heads in the sand when they come out to say that actually...
This is what I told you here, that religious institutions have got a role to play in the strengthening of marriage. Where were they when the marriage was dying? Where were they? Now, the role which they have now, let me finish. The role which they have,
please, I have to make
the
my
role
point.
which they have,
The time is going now.
the role which they have is to make sure that all those people who are cohabiting, who cohabited when they were asleep, not doing their work, because if they had preached
Don't
very
attack us,
properly,
don't attack us.
Now,
You told
Pastor
us
if
to
they
attack
had
us.
preached
Pastor
properly,
Sempa, where
if
were
they had
you?
preached properly, there would be no cohabitation. And even now, if they were to preach
Can
well
you
and
protect me?
correct
Can
these
you please
people,
protect
Let's
me?
hear from
It
Pastor
is my
Sempa.
turn. Can you
Pastor
protect
Sempa,
me?
Honorable, hold on.
Let her go.
Let's
She
see,
wants to go. Let her
no,
go.
you brought a very good
You see,
question.
Now,
sometimes-
Where were you when marriages were
we are
breaking up?
collapsing, when people are
Where
collapsing,
were you?
when
I
65% are
want to
cohabiting,
I want
what
to
were
bring
you
data.
doing?
Let me bring data here. You
Of
see, I'm
what?
a sociologist.
Let me
I'll
protect,
let him answer
let me
also.
protect
Let me bring
Pastor
data.
Sempa. Yes.
First
Data
of all,
for what?
research shows that people who are in cohabitation are more likely to have domestic violence than people who are properly married. That is across the board. If you want, I can provide for you. We must therefore discourage cohabitation.
Cohabitation is a
Secondly,
Why were you when they were cohabiting?
Secondly, she's talking about the Constitution. The Constitution recognizes also the existence of culture and religion. When the Muslims, our brothers, saw that these feminists were pushing their bandwagon to make a law, okay, to regulate marriage, something they were not very conversant about, they said, no, we want out of this. So now they are presuming to make a law for Christians. And now we are saying, if you want to make a law for Christians, please, you must hear our voices and let it be scientific and accurate. Don't make a law that is not in tandem with our teachings. Okay? So that is number one and number two. I must also remind you, my brother, that
The question was, where were you when marriages were breaking down?
Okay, this nation
when immorality
has
spread?
systematically,
Where were you?
Okay, has systematically neglected the family. Before we put up the Uganda Investment Authority, we should have put up the Marriage Investment Authority. You understand? Before we put up NADS, we need a similar program, just as NADS, National Marriage Advisory Extension Workers, in every place.
Don't attack
You see,
government.
what has happened is there has been a mislocation of priority.
Did you renege on your role as
no,
pastor?
I want you to
Hey,
listen. I want you to
pastors,
listen.
what
I
were
want you to
they
listen.
doing?
My sister has been in government for a long time until she left. Unfortunately, this government has had a colossal failure when it comes to advancing the cause of family and marriage. However, it has even turned the ministry that should be responsible for marriage into gender. Everything now, instead of family, gender balance,
What
gender
were they
ministry,
doing
gender
themselves?
this. Now the chorus is women and girls. Women, please listen to me. the government has been deceived by emotional stories that the advancement of women and girls to the neglect of men and boys and the neglect of family is the recipe for success. That is why we are here.
Where was the church when
Yes.
marriages
We
were
have
breaking
cons-
down?
Let
Where
me
you?
let me give you a recount. Where was I? I was holding a protest against red pepper. Where was I? I was
The
fighting
church.
for the rights of
The
children
church.
who have been sexually molested in court for 3 years. I never saw Matembe come here. Where was I?
So this is a case of
This is
neglect
important.
on the part of the
Listen,
church.
This one. This is
No,
important.
the church reneged on its role. Pastor,
I will walk
let's
off.
agree on
I
this.
will walk off
No,
also.
please, you
I
don't
will
have
walk
to.
off.
No, you don't have
Let
to.
me say this.
Yes.
Oh, it is 4 years ago that Matembe, along with a group of other feminists, brought this play called the Vagina Monologues. Listen to me.
Where was
I
the
told
church?
Matembe, I was there protesting.
How come today we have 60%,
Matembe,
65%
I told-
cohabitation?
Please listen. You are
Where
not
were
listening.
you?
We have been fighting. Unfortunately, Matembes of this world, unfortunately, they have not joined us. Imagine, no, listen to this. You have not
Where
heard this.
was the church
The
when marriages, when immorality got to
Listen,
this extent?
I told my sister,
Is
you
Matemba an
cannot
immoral
allow
woman?
a play called Vagina Monologue to come here. She told us, this play is for the...
Did it contribute to cohabitation?
Listen,
The question
Has
is,
it
where
corrupted
was
the
the
advancement
church?
of women? It is for... Listen, Kagwa, okay? You are asking me the same question. I am telling you, these
And you're
people,
not giving me an
this
answer.
group of people have been responsible for bringing immorality under the banner of women rights,
And the
women
church-
programs, including such obscene things such as vagina monologues. And we have been holding conversations with them. You were born again. You were a married woman. My sister Matembe, you can't bring this play. And she told me, Pastor Sempa, even for me, I've not read the play, but my fellow women are pushing the play.
Honorable,
feminist
there is a
play.
funda-
I want you to listen to this. We shut down that play, and really, you should apologize to us for even advancing.
have you
in
responded to
name.
the fundamental
No,
question?
I have
Where are
told.
you?
Where has the church been?
Excuse me,
Where are the
you are
church
not
been?
hearing. You are not hearing. We are in court of law fighting for the vulnerable. We are speaking out. We formed an agency. I have a family policy and human rights center. No funding at all from government. Time and time again, we've gone to the Ministry of Gender. They are filling the place with technical advisors from Germany, technical advisors from Belgium, technical advisors from Europe. I keep telling Matembe and my friends, please, you cannot allow the
Matembe
Sylvia
government
Tamales
to work.
of this world to be the ones who are leading the feminist movement. And we
Pastor
have told
Sempa,
people,
do you
no,
agree that the
no.
church has also reneged on its
No,
role?
I want,
And that's why
no,
we've gone this far.
No, I want to tell you, you are diagnosing the wrong problem. Our women have been hijacked as a Trojan horse by European values. And they are told that this one is to advance women. For example, this I've told you, but you have not showing any intellectual assertion of what I've said. And I'm surprised you don't have shock. A play called Vagina Monologues. You should at least have a say, hey, Pastor Chichi,
What I'm asking,
this
has the
is
church...
what has contributed to this.
Has your church taken any interest in this percentage? 65% are cohabiting. They're not legally married. Why don't you first fight to ensure that at least you spread marriages across?
Are you watching the news?
Yes,
Do
I
you
am.
see the weddings my brother Pastor Chaze is doing every time?
Why
the
the
big
guy
one.
the one who started the
Okay.
Chaze?
Are
Why
you
now
the
coming
one?
in?
Are you the one?
You don't know.
I
When
am-
we wedded 50,
we will
when
not
we
fight
wedded
now.
50, Mama,
Now
he
you are-
doesn't know.
you see,
He
you
doesn't
see,
know what
you see,
I did
you
with
see,
Pastor Chaze.
no,
We were the
let-
first people
Please, can
to
you
wed-
protect
to
me?
wed 50 couples.
Can you protect me? I will also
Where
welcome-
is the... No,
The church is there. Now, I want to say,
He's just
those of you who know,
can we have a common ground on this?
no.
Finally.
This bill must suffer death for at least and be buried just as Jesus was buried for 3 days in the ground. Then it can resurrect because now it doesn't have life. It has anger.
Are you
it
rejecting
has
it in
an-
its entirety
it
or
has
it's
anger.
got elements
A
that
bill
will...
that is going to imprison husbands for having uncomfortable sex? You cannot say that uncomfortable sex is rape and imprison men and
Honorable
husbands for 5
Matembe.
years. It is going to break families.
Which direction is this bill likely to take? Because it's getting a fierce debate.
You know, Kagwa, it's regrettable that you invited me to be attacked and abused here.
No, I'm
And
By
I must
facts,
express, I
with
must
facts
express
and
No,
my-
you've not been abused.
because
I wanted to hear from both sides.
I don't next time don't call me to be the subject of attack when the law is brought by government and we are just
No, we were discussing the
the
pros
women
and
backing
cons.
the
and
law.
when you get Sempa,
When they get embarrassed,
Sempa, I'm a very
then they hide
let me
behind the
tell
government.
you, in this country, even beyond, on the African platform, I'm held very, very highly as a family woman of values. I've been married for 37 years. My sons, 2 of them have married very decently. I hate cohabiting. I preach against it. And everybody who
Now
have,
you're pushing for
everybody
divorce?
who have listened to me know that. Sempa, you can't come here and consider me like a loose, useless woman. Sempa, you can't do that.
my sister,
Sempa,
when
can't
you bring
do that.
praise like vagina
Sempa-
monologues, you want
Sempa-
us to keep quiet.
Sempa cannot
This is
do
a
that.
democracy,
To
a
challenge
contestation
my-
of ideas. We can't sit here and keep saying amen, amen, amen. No.
So, Kagwa,
You must deal with facts.
you owe me an apology.
Telling that men cause their wives to have fistula when there's
No.
not a single case. You must be quiet on that one. When you don't know, it is okay to be quiet. But
How can I be
coming up
quiet
with
when I
arguments
have talked
to
of
make
death
men look
even?
bad,
I
to
have-
men look bad.
He's
No.
gone back. He's
No, no, no,
useless.
no,
Does
no,
this
no, no.
bill, is this bill in tandem with biblical teachings at all?
Very, very, very much. Very much. Let me tell you, in Malachi, it says somewhere,
I hate divorce.
I hate divorce. At the same time, it says,
Don't give up the wife of your youth.
you are not the only person who reads the Bible. Can I say my
kankuyambeko
own thing?
anyina
Yes,
Bible
yes,
yes. You know what I want to
It's
say?
okay.
matembe totiisatiisa. My sister, be humble.
I'm afraid that's all we
No,
had for
no,
you.
no. The Bible says, I hate divorce, I hate violence. 2 things at the same time. And at the same time in Proverbs it says that a wise person sees danger and runs away from it.
That is true.
So when you read those 3 scriptures, I hate divorce, I hate violence, a wise person sees danger and runs from it. How do you make of those 3 provisions when you read them together? When you read them together, God hates divorce. At the same time, he hates violence.
Yeah, but you're pushing
and
for
then,
divorce.
And then he says,
You're pushing for divorce, aren't you?
You have not.
See,
I'm married.
I told you here, I have not pushed for any divorce at all. The law is not pushing for divorce. The law is saying there is a divorce.
Now the church is
There is
saying,
and she said it. Divorce. There is a divorce every day, even as we talk.
There is problems
divorce
in
has
marriage,
taken
but
place
we
somewhere.
disagree. We agree
So,
there's a problem
the law-
in marriage,
the
but we
law-
disagree on the solution.
the
This one
law
says we
is-
imprison men. I'm saying we educate them. Okay? No, you see, there's poverty of
I told you to
ideas.
get people and
There's
wed
poverty
them
of
is not
ideas.
doing-
You see, let me help you, my brother. These
Can we
women,
go?
these are not.
can we find a common
Please,
ground
no,
on this?
yes.
The church says,
no, we
the-
can't
the
find a
church
common
says,
ground.
Honorable
Have
Matembe,
you reconciled
These
those
feminists-
you
issues?
belong to the church,
These
right?
feminists
Now the
must
church
repent.
says we must get back to the drawing board.
Kagwa,
Do you really
they
feel-
call me Sempa. They call me the Honorable Dr. Miriam Matembe. I'm a senior citizen in this country.
That is
and
good.
I'm recognized
I'm
very
also,
well.
but you will not
in that
intimidate us.
capacity.
You will not
So you can't
intimidate us.
come here
All right,
and
thank you
tell
very
us
much. That's
about
all we had for
women.
you. Have a lovely
Put
day.
things
Good
inside
morning.
their wives. This